you know.
Oh, we got the chickens done.
No roosters.
You'd be surprised.
No roosters. Oh.
Me too. Wow. Well, we told him he was 4 minutes earlier. You, it's like I'm heard of.
What? Stop that hour.
Welcome everyone to the Township Council Workshop, Monday, August 11th, 2025. This meeting is now called to order. Councilwoman Patel, please lead us in the salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Maybe seated. Madam Clerk, please read the notice of public notice.
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on January 7, 2025. A copy of the notice was sent to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the Township Clerk on said date. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the Township website at littlefallsnj.gov. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you. At this time, please call the roll.
Councilmember Patel.
Present.
Councilmember Murphy.
Present.
Councilmember Hablitz.
Present.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Present.
Council President Scoba.
Present. At this time, I want to call up Ted and to explain the discussion of New Jersey tree removal program. Ted, just tell us your first name, last name, and your background.
Yeah. Hi, Ted Stravinsky. Can you guys hear correctly?
If you just bring the mic a little bit closer.
Is that all right?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. It's on, I think. Okay. All right. So just on a quick note, I was asked to come to the council meeting to discuss the MS4 permitting process through the NJDEP to give you a quick understanding of that. I'll give you a brief background of myself. So I'm a Little Falls resident. I've been a resident for 57 years. I'm a licensed tree expert, so that's where I come from to speak to the council. As a resident, not so much, but as a licensed tree expert in the state of New Jersey. I work mostly as a consultant for municipalities, putting them in compliance with New Jersey Forestry Community Credits and the Forestry Assistance Act in New Jersey, which provides liability coverage for any volunteer who works for the town, who can even be a township employee, for anyone who works in the care of trees for the municipality. So for Little Falls itself. Okay. MS4 was a process by which the NJDEP restructured the way they looked at certain communities. We became a tier 1 community, or tier A as sometimes it's referred to. Putting that in perspective, what that tells us is that we have levels of compliance. The tree removal replacement ordinance is what it's referred to, MS4. So we just kind of shortcut it sometimes as MS4. The ordinance was asked to be put in place by the DEP, should say asked, but required by the DEP. And it has a time frame on it, and there is compliance, and there are actual processes right now where they're doing audits in communities. Any questions on that so far?
So there's the MS4 for my colleagues. It's a program that if if you take down a tree, you want to elaborate a little bit what that's
Yeah,
about?
so what it means is the DEP got involved in the fact of in communities within the state of New Jersey. They're realizing that due to tree loss in communities, it's causing exacerbated flooding, soil erosion, heating, cooling issues. So there are other concerns that they were brought into the equation. In Little Falls, obviously, we deal with the DEP and stormwater management issues because of flooding. And so that kind of became where the crux of it for our community is. And so MS4 does create this legislation, or I should say ordinance, for a tree removal permitting process. And what that means is that if you were to remove a tree on your property, there would be a cost associated with it for you taking out a permit. It would either give you the opportunity to replace that same tree on somewhere else on your property, or to pay for the permitting fee, which is almost like a bond to some degree, have the town have financing to now place a tree somewhere in a town park or street.
So, I'm a homeowner. I decide I want to take down a tree under this plan that the state says we need to do. I need to take out a permit. There could be a cost that hasn't been decided yet on the governing body, but there would be a cost. There'd also, and if I decide not to replant the tree, I would have to pay a stipend to the town or replant that tree for the town to plant the tree someplace else.
Like a bond, yeah, you'd have a bond in process, and if you don't replace the tree, then the town would receive that funding.
And they would then therefore place that tree somewhere in public lands on their property.
And typically, Council President Scoba, they have a fund. Most towns have a fund now. I was in Ocean Township on Thursday night discussing theirs, and they have a fund in place which probably has about close to $50,000 or $60,000 in it for tree replacement within the community. So I think one simple thing to kind of make a note about, and as Council President Scoba mentioned, you have to apply for a permit. If the tree is dead and it's causing any concern or it's considered hazardous, there is no fee for the permit. You would be granted the permit without cost. That's to protect public safety. That would go for the town's actual trees themselves. So if the town would remove trees for the reason of, say, they're renovating a park, they would also have to have some level of accountability for replacement, which they normally do anyway. But it's the resident who would typically remove a tree, not put a tree back.
Right.
And
So,
there is an allotted number of trees you're allowed to take at a certain size without any, you'd put in for the permit, but you would be granted a no fee on that also. And I think it's up to 3 trees in 5 years, but you can state that in your ordinance. You can actually adjust.
I remember a couple of years ago, there were some bugs that came from a different country or something off of cargo ships. I forget what they're called.
Emerald Dashboard
Thank you.
was attacking
Yeah.
our ash trees.
I remember because, and then they infested some trees. They would bore holes into it. They would.
We lost quite a few on
Right,
Patterson Avenue.
Right. And that, so therefore, if a homeowner had that, then there would be no permit
Correct.
and they wouldn't have to pay the town nothing. Would they have to replace those trees after they come down?
They could if they wanted to,
But
but
they
at
wouldn't
that
have
point,
to.
there is no charge or requirement for replacement.
Or regard, thank you.
I have one question for you. I've mentioned this to a couple of people, and one of the questions that I got was, is an arborvitae considered a tree?
All right, restate that in, so
Sure. If somebody's looking to remove, 6 arborvitaes that they have in their backyard because they're overgrown, is an arborvitae considered a tree, or are we talking trees that have, a trunk
Substantial
with leaves above it?
all right, so the consideration, Mayor, would be, yes, in the actual ordinance, it would state under 6 inches in diameter. Most shrubs don't get to much more than about 6 to 8 inches. So you can put a stipulation as anything below that number. So it's anything below 6 inches doesn't require a permit to remove. Anything above that would then go into this category of a fee-based system. So if it's, say, 6.5 inches to 12 inches in diameter, it would have one fee. If it was 12.5 to, say, 16.5 inches, it would have another fee. So fee structure goes as the size of the tree, because it's obviously the importance of the fact that by losing a large tree like that, you lose more than what one tree could replace in a short period of time with a smaller diameter. But yeah, you can clarify what that is, and that is important.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Ted, that you like to add?
So the only thing I would mention is compliance is important. It's not an easy process. as we've had these conversations with Council President Scoba and Councilwoman Hablitz over some conversations in the shade tree, because they've both been at meetings. What's kind of happened is it really comes down to the fact that as the town looks at this permitting process, it doesn't fall into shade tree. Most of our shade tree members are volunteers. They really don't have a good background and knowledge of trees. It's required by the permitting process that a licensed tree expert, whether it's myself, someone else, but somebody who's licensed in the state of New Jersey, is the one who is actually looking at the trees, determining if they're dead, dying, diseased, hazardous, or they just have to be permitted for removal. So it steps its way out of the Shade Tree Commission. But I think where it does belong is back in our stormwater management program. And that part kind of comes back to the fact of a lot of people will see this as a fee-based process that now is costing them more money to live in the town. That's always a difficult piece. And I know as council members, you all face that challenge all the time as people saying fees are going up in costs. It does change the nature of our community as people move in and remove trees, and the community starts to suffer over time. Whether there are trees being removed or replaced, and all you have to do is go into certain communities and you'll be able to see that reflected where you actually live. If people are removing trees without permits, or there's no obligation to actually be concerned with it, sometimes trees are not taken into any consideration other than let's just remove it and get rid of it. I don't have to deal with leaves. I don't have to deal with any headaches. So this concept takes a town like Little Falls, which tree-lined streets, beautiful community, bucolic in nature, just countryside kind of appearance as it was when it started, and then it changes that into a more urbanized area.
Does this put any pressure on tree companies that remove trees?
So in most towns, there is a tree permitting process. Now, the individuals can either apply as a company. So if you were to require a contractor to come to your house, Council President, they would say, okay, we can get the permit for you, or you would apply for the permit yourself. When we had this discussion regarding this, and I know the business administrator was part of that conversation, it was a matter of this is something that was now put on the township without any type of funding. It's an unfunded mandate is really what it is. And as that becomes an issue, now who takes the responsibility? We talked about how do we put that out there if you did a permitting process. Now, who's responsible? And then how is that permit being processed? Does it go through our buildings and, basically building permit process? Do we put it through anywhere else? It can't go into the hands of volunteers. We know that when money's involved, that can't work in that fashion. It has to be a township employee. So there are considerations to be put in place. I think there's a lot that needs to be outlined in this process. But it takes, again, rolling up sleeves, just sitting a little bit and trying to figure out what makes sense. As I've been able to give you over the course of a few months, different ordinances that show different fee base, you can see they're all over the place. There is no fee that is one set number. The DEP gives recommendations, and yet those recommendations change based on the community. And some communities put their trees at a real high value, almost to the point of where they are excessive, to say the least. And the idea is that it's really to put a replacement tree in. So if you're looking at the size of the tree that you're replacing, the cost should be matching exactly what the cost is to replace it, not an excessive cost.
Are there questions from the council? Councilman Vanchery.
Ted, question for you. So say a situation where a resident has a tree that they deem dead and they want to remove it. Now, would they need to contact you as the expert and come and look at it versus going to the vendor who tells them, oh yeah, it's dead, we can take it down? That's another step we'll have to.
So just as the mayor pointed out, and I think there are two great questions. One is what's the size? And that really does take place. Is it a shrub or is it a tree? Because there's no requirement for shrubbery, it's just trees. Right. So you would have to have that permit filled out, and then it would come to the town, and the town official or whoever's involved would basically go to the site, look at it and say, stamp, no fee. In the case of the tree that's dead or dying, the person puts in for that same claim. If the consideration is that the tree is dying and it's deemed that way by the expert or the code enforcement individual, then that tree would then be no charge.
Okay.
So there has to be
but it has to be
the parties have to agree to that.
Right. Versus
and in some cases, Councilman Vanchery, they might have an expert write a letter saying that the tree is in decline.
Okay.
Right, because there are some tree companies that do have arbiters, is that the correct word, on their staff that would certify that?
Yeah. So there's in New Jersey, there's licensed tree experts, licensed tree care operators. That's part of the licensure law in New Jersey. And then there's what's called a certified arborist, which is a recognized title in the state of New Jersey also.
I imagine if this governing body, or this governing body will come to terms and this needs to be passed, if that fee is to remove trees at a certain amount, whatever that may be, and a builder comes to town and is going to clear trees in order to build the property, this now will trigger this as well.
So there's two components to that, and I think the town can look in negotiating that with builder. So if it's with a builder, there would be a landscape plan that's drawn up after the post-construction. So that part of that could even be, if there is a plan in place, the plan would address, and when it's reviewed by planning board or given to Shade Tree to review, they would just make sure that the requirements are met, that trees are being restored back into that site. It may be some type of, a 2-for-1, or however the construction official would look to try to mitigate it. But I think you have to be very clear on the fact that, there are open parcels of land still in Little Falls that could be cleared. And with that being said, the largest violator of that was the state of New Jersey so far, in Montclair State and in Route 46.
Well,
They removed more trees in the town than we've ever removed. So, and that money then comes back in what's called a no net loss. So if the state does remove trees that are deemed valuable trees to the community, we can actually approach that through a no net loss.
Right. The state would not be exempt like a public utility,
No,
correct?
It's not, but they try to find every reason to be.
Are there questions from the council? Mayor? Counselor? Not much.
No. These are, there, I believe the DEP has a model
Yes.
ordinance that it's been shipping around, and part of the blanks that are in there, as Ted was explaining, is yes, it's a nice little thick thing that DEP is nice to give to us, and in there it has in essence blanks. There's no real suggestion on the permit fees, the fines, things like that. Obviously, that's a local matter to consider. I know in some towns that I'm involved with, as Ted said, the fees are more reasonable in some as opposed to others. Some have not only the exceptions for trees that are dead, but they also have an exception for they allow 1 or 2 trees to be cut down per year, something like that. So that a homeowner, if they're cutting down 1 tree, it's not, they don't have to go through an onerous process. But if somebody's cutting down 4 or 5 trees, that's something you want a little bit more control over. And also, as Ted said, there is some flexibility in determining what level of tree, because I believe the model ordinance provides a compendium of options to say, well, if you're below this caliber tree, you have to do this. If you're over this caliber tree, you have to do that. So if there's larger, you have 120-year-old oak, you want them to, if they're cutting that down, you want the person to be not just planting one scrawny little, hopefully not Norway maple, but a scrawny little red oak that's going to take another 120 years to grow. So some of those are considerations that are left open to the town from my recollection. And obviously, as I said, some towns tend to be a little bit more onerous than others.
Thank you. Does the public who are attending have any questions on this? Can the person in the chat hear us? Because Ted's going to probably leave. If you have a question, you can ask it now. I don't think they could. No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ted. Thank you very much for the insightfulness.
And again, I'll be available if you should need any support or any feedback on this. As I've worked with probably several municipalities currently that are working through this, and it's not an easy task. So but it is one that needs to be addressed before I think the DEP gets into the thick of wondering where to find people. So
thank you. Have a motion to open to the meetings to the public for general matters and agenda items. Moved by Councilwoman Abbott, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited, excuse me, to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The floor is now open. No one in the chat's coming before us. No one in the government chambers are coming before us. Have a motion to close the public. Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilman Havelitz.
No, Patel.
I'm sorry, apologize, Councilwoman Patel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Mayor, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and if you would spend some time on 3 to give the back out on that, how that all developed and how we came to this.
Absolutely, Council President. First is item number 1, the resolution adopting the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan update. And under the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, it has been required that municipalities identify through a county hazard mitigation plan goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term impacts to either people or property within their municipalities as a result of major, usually natural disasters. Of course, here in Little Falls, one of the primary focuses is surrounding flooding. It is one of the things that we have been focused on. It is one of the things that we have continued to take action in attempts to reduce future flooding, whether it be through seeking grant opportunities for gabion walls along our rivers, whether it be for pursuing long-term solutions, and of course, our most major, I'll call it accomplishment, securing funding to have the Peckman River Flood Tunnel installed, which will help us, a significant portion of town. But continuing to come up with ways to address flooding throughout our municipality is something that we are always looking to do. And this is simply the resolution adopting the 2025 Passaic County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Any questions with item number 1? All right, item number 2 is the resolution authorizing the Affordability Assistance Grant. This one I'm not going to spend much time on. This is one that we have seen regularly throughout the year as individuals apply for the Affordability Assistance Program here in town. So we do see those from time to time, and this is another approval of that. Any questions with item number 2? All right, item number 3 is the resolution authorizing the development of a public parking lot. And this one is in relation to, in particular, the old municipal building or 35 Stevens Ave municipal parking lot. As many people know, there was a $150,000 payment made due to our pileup program, our payment in lieu of parking, which was made into, or supposed to be made into, our public improvement program trust fund. And the use of those funds is intended to assist in creating additional public parking spaces throughout the municipality, primarily in our downtown area. And KV Realty in the past was required to make this $150,000 payment into the parking improvement program fund. And those funds, I think, would be very well suited to make the improvements surrounding the 35 Stevens Ave former municipal building, which once completed, we'll have public parking surrounding it. It currently is now, although a good portion of the lot is essentially unusable. It had been for some time. It was most recently used as a staging area for some streetscape improvements along Stevens Ave. And it is certainly in need of serious work in order to be real formal parking spaces, which would be a paved lot, curbing, things of that sort. And the municipality is looking to allow KV Realty to spend those funds in making improvements to the 35 Stevens Ave parking lot, the municipal public parking lot that will be there, with spaces dedicated for public parking in the future. The intent in doing so is because KV Realty hiring a private contractor to perform this work would allow 3 to 4 times the amount of work to be completed for the same dollar amount, because the owner's restrictions that are placed on municipalities drive costs up 2, 3, 4 times higher than private contractors are able to perform the work for. So having this work performed in that area of course, with proof of every dollar being spent, will be required. And we are looking to see some major and substantial improvements to that parking lot once that building is completed. This resolution would allow them to do so, which would be a major benefit to the municipality because we then do not need to spend the funds to do so. We'll have a good chunk of the work already completed, and then the municipality can complete the work and formalize that as public parking for anyone to use. Any questions with item number 3?
Questions? I'm sorry, Councilman Murphy.
Any chance we could potentially table this one till next meeting? My only request, just because I know we got this one around 5 and I didn't necessarily even get to read it probably till around 6:30. I'm not even saying against it or anything about that. I just know, 3 of the council members were on for the original application prior to Councilman Patel getting, or us getting here. So just wanted to see if we potentially could table this till next meeting.
Yeah, I know this came kind of late. We were between myself and council, we're fine tuning the language. I mean, I have no issue in taking this to the next meeting to give you to give the council members ample amount of time to vent it, to ask any necessary questions. And we'll put this back on the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this lot is not being completed anytime in the month of August for
Right.
sure. Never mind, maybe 2025. But yeah,
I figure that's why.
certainly some time to review this further and vet it fully. So that's item number 3 and resolution C, which is now being asked to be tabled.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we move on? All right, items number 4 and 5. Item number 4 is our ordinance 1524, our salary ordinance amendment. And in the past, the municipality had been fortunate when Mr. Cucci was the business administrator to also have him serve as the municipal CFO. And because he was also the township administrator as well as the CFO, the salary associated with a CFO in Little Falls was much smaller, or a fraction of the total cost that full-time CFOs are currently looking for. And in looking for a full-time CFO, we want to be sure that in the event a qualified candidate is found, that we could pay them a salary commensurate with the job being performed. Again, it's something that may happen in the near future or may not, but at least having the ability to hire a full-time CFO in the future is something that I think the municipality needs to have the ability to do. And with the current range, it would be impossible to find or hire a full-time CFO. So providing a new salary range is something that we are looking to do by adopting ordinance 1524. Any questions on item number 4? All right, item number 5 is an ordinance 1525, amending chapter 19 animals. Council President, if you'd like, I can certainly elaborate on this in some detail and then answer any questions that the council may have. But this is, in short, a rooster ordinance, and something that the municipality has faced over the years, and actually now for a number of years, is occasional and sporadic complaints and issues surrounding roosters in town. And of course, the number one single largest issue being the noises that they make, oftentimes very early in the mornings, especially in the summer, waking people up. And frankly, in a township like Little Falls, there is almost no reason that a resident needs to have a rooster. And I want to be very clear, this is not an ordinance prohibiting chickens. We understand that people want to have chickens, chicken coops in their yards, and they enjoy the benefits of having fresh eggs in their yard daily. So this is not in any way limiting chickens from being present. There is a cap number of, I believe, 8 chickens that would be permitted, and there is a very small fee associated with registering having chickens every single year, just to ensure that all other requirements are being met. But again, to be clear, this would be, in short, an ordinance to prohibit roosters from the municipality, not chickens. Any questions from the council, who I know have seen this ordinance or we've talked about it on a number of occasions?
Councilwoman Hablitz, I know you were spearheading this. You want to add anything to this chicken orders?
I don't. I just want to thank Counselor for being able to help us get this ordinance together so quickly. The residents that reached out to me, I'm sure they will be very happy about this. And thank you very much for all of my council members.
Okay, we're going to move on. Have a motion to Have a motion to approve the correspondence and applications.
So most.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilman Hablitz. Is this a roll call? Yes, please call the roll for the approval of the correspondence and applications.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes, have a motion to approve A, B, and D.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Patel and second by Councilman Vanchery. Please call the roll to approve A, B, and D.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes, Madam Clerk, please read 1524.
Introduction of ordinance number 1524, an ordinance entitled 2025 Little Falls Salary Ordinance with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for September 8th, 2025.
Have a motion to introduce 1524.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Hablitz,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Patel. Please call the roll to introduce 1524.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes, Madam Clerk, ordinance 1525.
Introduction of ordinance number 1525, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 19 Animals of the Code of the Township of Little Falls with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for September 8th, 2025.
Thank you. Have a motion to introduce 1525.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilwoman Hablitz. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes, Councilman Murphy, you want to lead us off?
Thank you, Council President.
Mm.
That time of year again for the town calendar. Applications for advertisements are now out. So if anybody is interested in advertising in the calendar, they could reach out either to myself, Councilwoman Hablitz, or Tyler Passero over at the Rec Center. He has a little application for you that you could fill out and advertise. Other than that, we did have to cancel our Domestic Violence Awareness Committee meeting on Tuesday. Obviously, there was a scheduling conflict with National Night Out, so we're pushing that off till September. Not too much to report this time. That's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Murphy. A question on the calendar. This is for Little Falls businesses to partake, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Vanchery?
Thanks, Council President. Just a few updates from me. Great job the other night by the Little Falls Police Department, as well as, the fire department, DPW and EMS for National Night Out. Kudos to Corporal Vanek for his last one. John has taken a lot of pride in making sure these events go off without a hitch. And it was another good one. It's a nice way to go before he gets ready for retirement. So again, it was a great night to come out there. And I do want to say thank you to the building department. So as I was there the other night, a resident came up about an issue where he lives, and the building department quickly looked into it. Next day, they had addressed the resident's concerns and notified the resident that was causing the issue, take care of the problem. So again, it's always good when you have these events and residents are asking questions and you can put them to the right resources. So that was a very good and pleasing. I also want to thank New Jersey Transit. There's a resident on Montclair Ave that has had some issues over the years with the train station and some of the work that's been going on there. So I reached out to New Jersey Transit and met with the resident as well as Annette Romano from NJT. She's also the mayor of Milburn when she's not doing that. And we had a good conversation with the resident and talked about some of the things that can be addressed now versus things that she has to work on. And it seems like they've already started taking some action with some of the requests that came through. They're also looking at revisiting the parking lot and maybe reconfiguring it because it's very outdated. A lot of the signage needs to be replaced, as well as the striping. Also during the conversations, and I know PD's been involved in this, and Mr. Wentz will connect with you as well. One of the things that we had asked for years was about the jurisdiction when it comes to the parking lot, which has always been New Jersey Transit's. And a lot of residents would complain about most of the commuters running the stop sign, especially too when the train tracks were down zipping through. So we did ask Annette Romano from New Jersey Transit about the possibility of the township possibly taking it over. And we were contacted by New Jersey Transit Police Department. They said it's a little bit of a process, so I'll get that information over to you. They sent me an email last week, but it's something to consider because there have been some concerns, like I said, when the trains are down, a lot of residents take advantage of zipping through, especially on Montclair. So more to come on that. I'll send you guys what I have. But again, it's just something that we've heard from the residents on Montclair Ave and something we can look into. One other thing too, I'm working on is the September 11th ceremony. We're in August, but we've got to start planning for that. We are looking at September 11th, which is a Thursday this year at 6 p.m. at Wilmore Road Park. We're going to put together the program like we usually do. What I may ask for some of my colleagues here, I may have to travel for work that week. So if I do, if you guys wouldn't mind subbing in to help out with that ceremony. So more to come. I'll know more in the next couple of weeks, but if I do have to travel that week, you guys don't mind covering for it. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilwoman Havelitz.
Thank you, Council President. So just some library updates. This Thursday, the 14th at 11 a.m., there will be a preschool painting class, ages 3 to 5. So be prepared for those little ones to get messy. There are a few openings left and you would register at the library website. As well as you can register for the art studio class, which is ages 7 and up, which will be on August 20th at 6:30 p.m. Also, registration is open at the library website. Be sure to log into the library website or their social media for all the up-to-date information of the goings-on at the library. This Wednesday starts our first movie night. So Movies in the Park. It is again returning to Wilmore Park. Beginning at 7:30. There will be food and a great time for everyone. This Wednesday is Moana 2, one of my granddaughter's favorites, followed by Minecraft on the 20th and Dogman. That is something that Frankie and Tyler from the rec picked out on August 27th. So hope to see you all there. And then lastly, it's coming quick. The township will be hosting its annual townwide yard sale Saturday, September 13th from 9 to 3 p.m. with the rain date of Sunday, September 14th. The permit is $5 where you can register at Community Pass, but the registration does include a yard sign and all of the advertising for the sale. That's all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Patel.
Thank you, Council President. So the Clifton Health Department informed us that on August 3rd, there was a confirmed case of a resident of Passaic County who had developed measles following international travel. They did let me know that it was not a resident from Little Falls or Clifton, but now that there's been a case in Passaic County, we're just informing the public. Measles symptoms include a high fever, cough, runny nose, watery red eyes, and a rash that usually appears between 3 and 5 days after symptoms begin. This rash starts off as flat red spots on your face at the hairline and kind of move downward. So if anyone suspects exposure to measles, please contact Clifton Health Department or your primary care physician immediately over the phone first before going there in person. The Clifton Health Department is also partnering with New Jersey Blood Services to host a blood drive at Clifton City Hall. That's going to be Monday, August 25th, 2025 from 10 to 4. And they're hosting a free prostate cancer screening also at Clifton City Hall. And that's going to be on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025 from 1 to 5. And finally, our next public health committee meeting is September 10th at 6:30. And that's right here in Town Hall for anyone that wants to attend. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Have a motion to open meeting to the public for agenda items only. Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Patel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you. The floor is now open. Seeing no one come before us, can I have a motion to close the public?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Havelitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I want to thank the entire staff for assisting me in getting this agenda ready for this meeting. Can I have a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Patel. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? This meeting is now closed.